I have the great pleasure to welcome and have a discussion with Irina Janevska from Organization for Social Innovation Arno, who is based in Skopje, Macedonia, and is joining us via Skype to speak about their project and then benefits, and then what are their plans of either building on that experience or expanding it in the region. Irina, welcome.
Hello, Astrid. Thank you for the opportunity to talk on the project. It's already wrapping up. It's becoming very close to the deadline of finalizing the report. The project's name is Students Today, Responsible Entrepreneurs Tomorrow. It's a project that was done in partnership with 3 schools, high schools. One is from Macedonia, another is from Croatia, and one from Lithuania. We also do have a partner NGO from Belgium. So if we can say it's a project done in partnership between 4 countries. The whole idea of the project is to bring entrepreneurship in the classroom, but with more practical side and with new models on social entrepreneurship and corporate social responsibility.
So it's cross-border, cross-sectoral, involving partners, working with school kids, working with professors, teachers, and working with businesses, I assume. So how was that experience of working with young people?
The experience was great. We had different trainings, different modules that were really bringing skills to the students, but we also had a campaign that was completely done by the students. We had a gala event that was attended by the private sector and the audiences, fundraising, and the students at the end had to actually decide what they're going to do with the money that they have fundraised. It was really cross-sectorial because the whole idea of the project is to connect not only NGOs to the educational system and to the decision makers, but also bring private sector to the discussion of what we can do, how we can improve the curriculum, so we create future labor forces that are really well prepared for the market and they can have good careers.
And I assume it benefits the private sector as well, because they may identify or get ideas from the young people, from young generation, which have crazy, beautiful ideas sometimes.
For sure. When we speak about young people, let me just share that we took the best schools. We took the students that are already enrolled in the school subject entrepreneurship, but we upgraded. So we are no longer believing that only teaching students about how to establish a company, what are the roles of the company in the entire infrastructure in the society, but also giving them skills how to virtually run companies. So what we did first, we trained teachers how to run student virtual companies. So not only the establishment, but also running real practices, reach out to their parents, reach out to their peers, organizing some offline events like campaigns, bazaars, so they can generate some funds and afterwards use their funds for actually bringing sustainability to their virtual companies. So it was great because students had these crazy ideas and they also liked our NGO ideas. So we combined a lot of innovative approaches so we can practice and see what's working and what's not. The most crazy part was we expected that the students, because they're already youth leaders, they have been part of many trainings, sit around in a circle, do some energizers. But the crazy part was that we also learned from them. We learned that we should, in our next trainings, in our next approaches to this whole entrepreneurship education, we should involve a module on unsuccess, so on failure. Because we also invited young businesses, young business leaders to tell them not only about success, but about failure. And this was great learning because, as I said, it's a mix of cultures, mix of countries. We all come from a different background. So, and as well as EU membership, Lithuania has a longer history being part of the European Union. Croatia entered a few years ago, and Macedonia has a road to go to reach the European Union. But we also have different cultures. What's common in all of these mindsets, and maybe it's a world trend, we shared with them this concept of I fail nights, when famous entrepreneurs speaks about their unsuccessful stories on the way of reaching and being a CEO. It was a great learning that we can learn from young people how to overcome these failures, how not only to perceive themselves as youth leaders in terms of being the ones that speak up only about the plans, but also having these human-sized stories, human-tailored stories and approaches on the entire process. It's not only the end product, it's the process that matters to the students and to all of us who are part of this environment of teaching young people and directing them for the better future.
And sometimes the process is way more important than the end product itself. And so I can see that there was a lot of mutual learning, but there was also an element of building skills and building confidence. How was that manifested by young people?
It was a process that involved not only the students but the teachers. We also had a great learning outcome because the teachers come from an older generation when they have different notions and different approach on teaching entrepreneurship. So it was quite useful for us as an NGO doing these tailored programs to learn on how we can direct our teachers, our stakeholders to think of better curriculums in the future. We also aligned that with all the European Union reports and guidelines is how we can create a better curriculum for the society, but that really comes bottom up. So the confidence part was greatly touched by the trainings. We set, as I said, we all work in the NGO sector in non-formal setting, but it was also useful for the students to be the leaders in the small activities that were part of this project. For example, just to illustrate how we did it, how it was done, we gave a topic to the students, philanthropy. They first had to learn about the word, not just to pronounce it, but to get in touch with their personal reflections on the topic. What is philanthropy? What is doing good for the community? And then to expand this topic in relation to them perceiving themselves as future leaders. So they had the topic, they had a task to organize a campaign, their school communities, on the topic of kindness. It's all around us. We just need to recognize it, to invite students to take photos from their nearest communities. And then they had the task to bring people together, different backgrounds, so they had to invite a journalist, a photographer, a teacher, and a parent, and to jointly make a decision which are the best photos that come from their communities. So we have 10 photos in all of the countries coming for the gala event in Skopje that was held in May. In May, they had to organize not only an online campaign for promotion of the event, but to also buy tasks among themselves to be speakers, to announce speakers that were guests from the private sector that shared CSR stories. And also the best, I think, practical and confidence building activity for them was to try to sell the photos. So we have printed photos coming from Croatia, Macedonia, and Lithuania, all in one place. They had all of the students were holding one piece of paper with starting price of €5 for each photo. They need to have this interaction with the visitors to convince them why they should do more. And they were very successful in that. They gathered around €300 in total. We are speaking about 2-hour event, students led. So it was the students themselves having total ownership of the event. And afterwards, they had the task to also decide what they're going to do with the money. So as in the evaluation reports, in our discussions, I think that this was for them the biggest takeout from the project. Not only being participants, but taking the lead in all these activities that were not only online, because these are millennials. They have their digital skills. We cannot learn them. We can learn from them how to do outreach on Facebook or Twitter, but offline, we have so much room to them to take the lead and actually learn by doing. But also to have an own decision-making internal process between themselves as young people, what they're going to do with the money.
And so what are Arno's plans, doing some more work beyond the project? And could you sense that young people are keen, are interested now to share their own experience with other peers in the region?
As I mentioned, as you mentioned, actually, Arno is an organization for social innovation. So we are always trying to bring innovation to what we are already doing and to share this practical outcomes that really work as success stories with other NGOs from the region and beyond to try to come up with something that is more that has a better infrastructure for us. Our next plans are we actually got continuation of the project a bit in a different direction. So now, because we had this social experiment behind us, it really worked. Now, in the next 2 years, with the same partners, we are going to develop manuals, intellectual outputs, but we are also going to organize local events to bring decision makers, the ministries of education, the private sector, everybody that should be on board to discuss how we can influence our future, but by tailoring better educational programs with more practical sides, so we can create better generations that are better integrated at the market and in a way boost the local economy. This is one of the plans. Other plan is to invite NGOs to use the same concept to create a new network to reapply to the national agency, to the Erasmus program, which is funded by the European Commission, and to spread this into as many schools possible in the region. Because we believe that Balkan countries especially have the potential to influence future generations by having these interventions in the educational system.
So many good things: building trust, building confidence on people, building skills, and also trying to improve the policy, improving policies so that there are better policies and coherent with the changes that are happening not only in specific countries, the region, but also globally, which is a great thing, and I think a great note to end the conversation. Thank you very much, Irina, for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk on this example, and I hope it will inspire more people and we can do even more great joint actions in future.
We definitely will.